Hello, I'm John, and this is Dry Tavern Road, where I am looking forward to participating in the vinyl community's current question of what 10 albums do I listen to the most. And I'm going to do them basically in chronological order in which I first encountered the album and work my way through it. So the first one is Oscar Peterson, Canadiana Suite. And I came to know of Oscar Peterson through a show he did in the 70s on our public broadcasting network with Andre Previn. And he sat at a piano, played music unlike any music I'd ever heard, and actually spoke with Andre Previn about the music, about his background, the artists that influenced him. So this is at a point when I was in a very heavy Led Zeppelin phase, very loud music, the Clash, all sorts of music that was quite more aggressive than very quiet piano music, but there was still something that really inspired me here. I should also note that I have a cassette still I recorded of that TV program because I was so taken with it. I went away to school, and luckily my roommate had a stereo, and I bought a copy of this then, and I've had various editions throughout the years. This one actually came by way of eBay as a promo copy, and includes an autograph of Oscar Peterson to whoever disc jockey is reading it, and I will include a picture of that for your reference point here. The album was inspired, he's from Canada, from traveling in a train across his homeland and really just doing a musical landscape of postcard songs, really, that are amazing. Hogtown Blues is the standout here. Wheatland, Land of the Misty Giants. It's a beautiful album, and one that I probably listened to more than any other that I'm going to speak about, simply because I've been listening to it so many decades now. Going away to school, was fortunate to have a friend who loved Joni Mitchell, and this album, Court and Spark, was my introduction to Joni Mitchell. It's really amazing to listen to someone who composes, who sings, who plays instruments, such as Joni Mitchell, and really is just a poet. This album, with Help Me, Free Man in Paris, Car on the Hill, Raised on Robbery, and of course, actually my favorite song is Troubled Child. It really, along with the Oscar Peterson, almost feels very jazz-like to me to this day, but this album is one that just is never far away from my turntable. My best friend was into Genesis and also Peter Gabriel, so I was introduced to both when he asked me to actually buy both albums at a record store. So I wasn't familiar with them at that point, but then coming back and listening to them, I immediately went and got a copy of this album, and later Peter Gabriel as well. This album is pretty much the one where Phil Collins stepped up into the vocal role with Genesis, following the departure of Peter Gabriel. And again, it's almost like a suite of songs that cover very theatrical, I guess it is prog rock, but it's just a beautiful work, a composition where at the end Los Endos kind of revisits many of the themes of the album. I really, Ripples is my favorite song on this, and it's also an album I find I tend to listen to when I'm riding on jet planes across the country. It's very relaxing and kind of maybe takes your mind off being in a jet plane going across the country. This album came out in 1979, and it's the original first album by Rickie Lee Jones, called Rickie Lee Jones, at a time when I was listening to many artists who were several years, decades older. Rickie Lee Jones was almost a contemporary, just a couple of years younger than her, and I was just amazed by, obviously, the hit Chucky's in Love, which is terrific. But also Danny's All-Star Joint, Young Blood, Weasel and the White Boys Cool. It's just a wonderful album. And again, not unlike Joni Mitchell, someone who composes, sings on her album. I don't believe she plays an instrument, so maybe not quite like Joni Mitchell. Sorry about that. And then obviously her book, maybe not obviously, I picked up her book, Last Chance Texaco, and read about her relationship with Tom Waits, which I had no idea about until reading the book. And I think of what an amazing, dynamic, artistic couple they would have been at that point. So Rickie Lee Jones. Also, I find that she's found quite a home in high-quality, high-res audio, where it seems like many of her albums have appeared in higher formats. We're talking about vinyl here, but I have really enjoyed her recent work as well. A band that I really enjoyed thoroughly throughout the course of their entire career is Talking Heads, and this is the front cover, that's the back cover. But Talking Heads Remain in Light. Their third and final album in collaboration with Brian Eno as a producer, and again from the first guttural yelp and drum beat, this album just takes off and really kind of changed the way I heard music in many ways. It was just so completely different. The production, the many textures, the layered effect, all just took me in and continue to take me in. I really, Cross-Eyed and Painless is the standout cut on this, though of course Once in a Lifetime is the hit from this album, and obviously an amazing video from a visual artist, David Byrne, as well. And then a year later, Eno and Byrne collaborated on My Life of the Bush of Ghosts, which seems to take a thread and continue along the lines of this album. And another artist I really follow and think the world of is Trent Reznor of Nine Inch Nails, who cites this album as just being a seminal work and influence on him. Moving away from that genre, growing up in California, it was hard to avoid the Grateful Dead. I'm proudly wearing a Dead & Company shirt. Went to their concert recently here in the Philadelphia area. But this album, Reckoning, is an all-acoustic album that came out in 1981 and really, in a way, introduced me to folk, bluegrass, tad of country that I really hadn't been exposed to or really thought much of until then. It also inspired me to start playing guitar, which I still do. The standouts really, I love Deep Ellum Blues on this. It Must Have Been the Roses, Dark Hollow, Been Around This World, Cassidy, To Lay Me Down. I mean, it just goes on and on and on. It's a double album, and just from beginning to end, it's just a masterpiece in my view. Another artist I was fortunate to see several times is Elvis Costello, and this is my favorite album of his called Imperial Bedroom. It's an album produced by Jeff Emmerich, and very, very, again, layered, just a beautiful, pristine sheen quality to it that I just absolutely love. And an album that just continues to intrigue me. I really, again, love his work. Haven't really kept up with everything he's done of late, but keep coming back to Imperial Bedroom, which, Beyond Belief, The Loved Ones, Little Savage, my favorite, Man Out of Time. Also, I'm going to shoot a picture of the inner sleeve, which has all of his lyrics just literally squashed together, because he is just a terrific lyricist, and it's just a nice add-on to the experience of this album. Elvis Costello, Imperial Bedroom. again, we have moving into the 80s with the Grateful Dead and Elvis Costello. And then this album, 1982, by Roxy Music, Avalon, has just completely enchanted me since its release. It's a very synth, very digital feel album, but that doesn't leave any of the soul and feel, compassion and passion that the artist, Brian Ferry, Ray Manzanera, put together on this album. I think more than this is the hit, but Take a Chance with Me was in effect almost like an anthem during the time period that I was growing up and listening. Growing up, I was in my 20s when this came out. No, actually, yeah, I was in my 20s. I turned 30 a few years after this came out. But it never gets old. And Roxy Music, Avalon, what more can I say? A band that I was very, very, very late to the party on is Radiohead. My wife gave me a copy of Hail to the Thief in 2004, and then I promptly went back and explored their earlier albums at that point, and I've kept up with them ever since. But an album that I just keep coming back to on a song-for-song basis is The Bends. This is their second album, came out in 1995, and the depth of songs is just incredible, from Fake Plastic Trees, My Iron Lung, Street Spirit, Fade Out, and a song that kind of I liked at first, but then with a cover by Gillian Welch and David Rawlings, and then another kind of random YouTube I came across, thanks to the algorithm of YouTube, Black Star, Canadian orchestra, Canadian vocal ensemble performs it. Again, I'll include the links. But Radiohead is a band that I share a passion with my son. We've had the good fortune to see them twice in concert, and I'm always interested about what they're going to do next. Right now, Tom York and Johnny Greenwood are collaborating in A Smile, which I haven't got the album yet, but I do want to get that just to keep up with what they're doing. They always seem to be very forward-thinking, but I don't want to miss what they're doing now, but I really enjoy revisiting the Bends. And then as my number 10 selection, Beck, Morning Phase. This came out in 2014. I'd enjoyed Beck's earlier work. Odelay was an amazing album. And this one, again, I think it's self-produced, beautiful orchestral sound to it. There's kind of a beginning piece, Wave, that is revisited midway through on side 2 as it happens. I love the beginning song, Morning, Hard as a Drum. I just love the sound of it as well. And I had the good fortune to see him in concert, both as a group, and then luckily got a ticket to his solo acoustic performance in Nashville, which was 2 years ago. But again, a really wonderful album by a great artist. So that is it. Thank you for watching, and I look forward to seeing many of the other entries to this wonderful contest, if it is a contest. It's really just talking about albums we listen to. So thanks again, and take care.